crazy.
I bought acid outside of a Taco Bell for the first time.
Yeah, my first guy that gave me acid was also my like. He was the number one like weed seller in the school, you know,
Yeah.
and all the cops in the city knew him and shit. And this guy would show up every day on acid to school,
What? Just geeked?
geeked,
Like functioning or like
functioning.
was everybody just like, yeah?
No one knew unless you knew him, you know,
How do
like
you
know him. Like
how do you hide your eyes just being fucking dinner?
I think the actions are gonna be much better than any words that you can come up with. I mean, for me, it's just the it's the obvious with that. Like you just want to have good morals. What would you say good morals are? I use the word good because, well, what does that imply? Usually
Like,
looking out for someone other than yourself.
yeah,
Um, you have a compassion,
right.
um, some sort of responsibility, uh, and you take a pride. It's it's a cliche of like calling it be a good citizen because I don't really think that's the right term because it's like a locked in thing to me. Like be a good citizen. No, you don't even need to be good. Just don't even be nice. Just be yourself. Express love, gratitude. You know, however you can show these feelings. That's what matters. It's not about good. That's
What
just
do you think? What do you think you struggle with the most in like being good?
damn, dude. You're just slamming it. Let's go. But you learn from that to where you hopefully you can come around and get into a place of where even if you both aren't at peace with it, you know,
You're past it at least.
yeah. Because for me, like one of the things is like I'd have a hard time getting over like this wrongdoings, that someone close to me could have done.
To
Um,
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even so much me, and I end up taking the blame on myself because I put myself in those situations. But it would hurt for a while to a point where I became like callous, and I think I'm just trying to work on that, building up the fact that you know you can have your
Forgiveness.
you can have that moment, but understand that it doesn't have to define everything. Like even if they don't offer you forgiveness, which thankfully in a lot of these cases that's been the outcome. A couple of cases it was just me kind of being stubborn, So I'm glad I've been able to kind of work on that and realize there's no reason to hold on to
Yeah.
a grudge for no reason. Doesn't mean you have to actually, I mean, it took me a long time for some people to like,
Get over it.
yeah, because in my mind I was justified and it just seemed right. Like, you know what, I'm fine without this guy because you get
Maybe
to
not even in your mind, but objectively, you could be just totally right. But
yeah,
where
well,
does that get you?
I to me it was just like I'll find peace in not ever having to talk to this dick or whatever you want to say. And then even though he's, you know, this person could be someone super close to you or a family member, whatever it may be, whatever you can relate to, you have those moments, um, and it's just like, damn, you know, you don't want to, you're just like hurt by the fact that like how could someone just turn on you like that? They've known for
Can
all
we?
these years, right?
Right. Can I hack a big can of worms right now?
Well, yeah.
My girlfriend's bringing this up a lot because we've had these like talks about not raised in the slightest like that, and there should be a lot of like deep hate towards either things or people that I really don't let bother me a lot. Like,
So
uh,
the difference between you and explain that though a little bit more. The difference between the way you were raised and her, like,
all right, I'll give you a good example, which is basically what we had started on this topic about when me and her were talking. But um, so my dad has cheated on my mom, and so is her dad. Albeit my I was like 10 and she was 21, so she was a bit older and understood the the gravity of the situation. But still, like I was shoved out of my house by my mom to go fucking stay in a hotel. Like it's traumatizing to a point. And then my mom also cheated on my dad, so like just a lot of what do you call that, infidelity in my family.
yeah, well,
But
that would sum it up. I mean, I think you could say even more than that. I mean, that definitely makes you become kind of numb. I would imagine.
especially to like relationships and like the fact of like that was your role model for how people act when they're married, was
Uh,
that my parents were just like, fuck it, let's tough it out.
they paint the picture for you, you know.
Definitely, yeah. And that probably led to some of the actions I've done, but also the fact that like I don't. All right, real deep, real deep.
Let's go.
This what I'm telling you right now is between me, you, whoever decides to listen to this podcast this far.
That's any last words. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Speak it.
Um, so my brother had shot himself, right? Like committed suicide in 2013. So I was 13 years old. I woke up in bed to like my parents screaming downstairs. My door's open in my room. I'm just kind of staring out, wondering what's happening. And I hear the 911 call of my dad saying like my son shot himself, like send an ambulance, whatever. And it's just too far gone. It was like hours since it happened, and I didn't even. I was just locked in the bed. I just dead straight stare out my door, looking out the window in the front of my house, and I hear slash have seen my parents go into my brother's room and like ruffle through his shit and find a suicide note, and they read it individually, each of them, and I hear them talk about it. They shove it in their like nightstand drawer or something. They hide it from the police or whoever's gonna come to like clean up and fucking take the body out of our basement. And I always like remembered that conversation between my parents of like, what do we do about this? And they're like, fucking, like, go shove it somewhere. Like, don't let them see it.
They tried to.
Because
They just
it had
try to
some
hide that. From
it had some like it had some fucked up shit about my dad, like basically saying that my dad put a gun on his bed and shit, and like which honestly I just don't believe. I don't think anybody.
Did you end up seeing the note?
So I kept that to myself. I never brought it up to my parents because I was like a little too scared to bring it up.
Right.
So I was 18. I was with my mom. I just turned 18, and I asked her about it, and she told me there was no note. She doesn't know what I was talking about, whatever. And I really didn't believe her. And we were having a big moment. And she still told me there was no note, and it was last Thanksgiving. I'm 23, 22 years old at the time, and I finally talked to my dad about it, and my dad's like, there was a note, and he also told me that like my brother never mentioned me once in that note, never said sorry, never like understood the gravity of what he was doing to me, like killing himself. And my dad's like, that's another reason why we didn't want you to see it, is that it was just so upsetting to us too, that it's just such a selfish act.
It is.
And honestly,
but
at this point in my life though, I like I don't give a fuck. I don't hold this grudge against him, or I don't hold a grudge against my parents, even though damn well I know that like my mom basically drove this kid to suicide by like threatening to throw him in jail.
I know that's got to hold like an immense amount of pain and weight in you. What makes you say that you don't give a fuck? Because I can understand that that's something that might sit with you, but not something that you can't necessarily come to peace with. But that is an immense amount of baggage. And so what for you has changed to where you can get to a point where you just don't have to give a fuck? It is what it is. You can make your peace to a certain extent.
I think it was primarily how like my dad carried himself after it, even though he's like only recently opened up about like really what he was going through at the time, because my dad has had two of his kids killed themselves, or not killed themselves, but my older stepbrother crashed his car like drunk driving one night, and had to go on life support. My dad had to pull the plug back in like 2006. But that's like my half brother, like my dad's first marriage, and so my dad's 1 for 3 with kids right now, and I know that like that fucks him up more than it would ever fuck me up about all this shit. Like I kind of start to think I need to put myself in his shoes and understand like what I mean to him, and I think that brought me a lot of value in my own person.
That's good. That's good.
And it's also like
That is healthy.
I think a big thing I felt was that the resentment I had towards what my brother did like made me feel like it is so unfair for you to make that decision to put that off on other people, that like I'm not gonna let that ruin my life. I'm not gonna let it control me. It wasn't even my decision for that to happen. I can't let that motherfucker run the show anymore from the fucking grave.
Yeah, I mean, it comes to a point where it's got to be you that you have to move on, either for better or worse, to put it bluntly. Whether or not it's going to be, whether or not you wanted the person, in that case, that's someone, your fucking brother, But you can live that out to the fullest for him. Live 2 lives through you, man. Do it for him. I know that would be the most courageous thing that you could do. it's probably, I mean, that challenge that you're going through of overcoming that is probably built there in some sick way to actually make you, hopefully, what could be the better and best version of who you're to become. You're supposed to overcome all this shit, so you do what your brothers couldn't.
Right. I think that's an outlet I took through like the fraternity that I'm in and shit too. Is that like I have the opportunity to like help kids that are probably in the hardest part of their life, and not really just tell them that I've had it harder than you, fuck you, but like relate to them in a capacity.
Right.
I think it honestly, the thing I think I took the most out of it was like the maturity aspect of emotionally maturing at 13 to like deal with shit like that.
That puts a big toll on you at a young age that no one's ever gonna be prepared, no matter what age. But when, I mean, that makes you really think like, oh shit,
You
life.
kind of get you
You
get the
get the
gravity
gravity
of
of
life.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, thankfully, nothing as drastic as what you've gone through, and the only way I can relate is just having other people that my friends take their lives, or one just wasn't really a suicide, but um, that was like, my one of my, he's probably just like one of the closest guys I ever got to know, and he overdoses on my birthday, and then I'm like, oh shit, that's it, the guy's gone,
Yeah.
just like that. Guy's 21, gone, and then a year later, I mean, I already knew that both these guys were on a downward spiral. I wasn't even in the same states as them when all this stuff happened. So I felt powerless.
Yeah.
I'm like, how could... But, it's out of your control to a certain point,
Right.
And I was pissed, at both of this. One guy is taking a gun and blowing his brains out. One guy is dying to fentanyl. And they didn't need... How are you going to do that to your family and whatever? And you almost get like this bitterness, like, fuck, man, why'd you gotta fuck up? Why aren't you here right now, man?
Why could you not handle that and then put it on me to handle it? That's the fuck part.
They don't. It's
It's the most selfish act that you could ever commit, for sure.
They get to a point where if you can't love yourself to any extent or see your value, you forget what it means to actually feel the value of others, because it pulls you in so deep. It's probably would just be the equivalent of drowning. But after all that darkness, I think we should
lighten it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna pull this up on Discord here. So now we're gonna talk Mandela effect, and I don't know if you've ever heard anything about this. Well, basically, the way I could describe it is, without getting too down the rabbit hole, to me, first one, I think these will just explain it, and I'll explain my, I think you'll kind of get the Mandela effect. This is where it started. Okay? He died 2013.
Okay.
I wasn't the best student, but one of the few things that I will stand by is that I was specifically taught. I went to a good high school, but they told me he died in prison in the 80s. And then all of a sudden, I'm in high school. He's dead. I'm like, wait, what? And then all this stuff starts coming out about him dying twice. That people remember. So I was like, because that's one thing I was hellbent on. And so this all ties into CERN, and if you want it to, this goes crazy down the rabbit hole a little bit.
Wait, clarification.
Of course.
So Hadron Collider. Like,
yeah, we're gonna have we'll have a whole segment on that at some point here, because that deserves it. Because I can pull up some freaky things with that, but for now, this is gonna be freaky enough. I'm thinking maybe you're not Mandela affected, as they call it, but basically from this point on, since they fired up that Hadron Collider or whatever the fuck, the big, the boson, whatever the fuck.
Higgs boson.
Yeah, the boson. Yeah, I just call it a fucking dimension to hell. I don't know what they're doing over there besides trying to like create the atom in which God is made, but it's pretty of mainly graphics, but it's a mismemory. You can have movies, movie lines the way that it came out. Some of these are false, or just whatever. But when there's enough of these coincidences, to me,
Uh huh.
either, I mean, I think there are a lot of people that are crazy, but if normal everyday people end up saying, "Oh, Manstein Bears," to me, Curious George, he had a tail. I loved Curious George. 3, 4 years old, was read that. Motherfucker had a tail to me. This one,
Wait, Curious George didn't have a tail.
look,
Actually,
are you looking?
dude, that's a weird one. I fucking what?
You gotta look at this because these pictures will.
The one I believe honestly the most is the Berenstein Bears, bro. Berenstein Bears.
Okay.
Berenstein.
Yeah, see that?
That's the one I buy into. Yeah.
One of the first ones for me, I don't know if they'll show it, is Kit Kat with a dash. Can do that. Kit Kat will show up on here. They got fucking Fruit Loops. Here we go. Oh. Monopoly Man. Look at this.
He had a monocle, yeah.
No, he doesn't.
What? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Now you're catching on. All right, at least I got you with a couple of these so far. He had a monocle.
What's that? King George the fucking 14th or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that one. Okay, Fruit
Hercules.
Loops. A couple of these are them just changing the logo design. But Oscar, this one I didn't pay attention enough to really say.
I'd say EYER. Meyer. Like,
Yeah, I
the, other
mean,
one's, the other one's Mayer. Wait, which one's right? The left or right?
right.
Skechers doesn't have a T. This is the same like layout. The left one's
Sketch.
wrong.
Yeah, some of these, I don't connect. This is what I connect with. Pikachu. I know there's a lot of other hardcore Pokemon. I always thought he had. I want it. What do you? Here's my Kit Kat. What do you think out of these two? Pikachu, you might not give a fuck about, but or no, you might say the right looks.
No, chill. I don't remember. I mean, one, I fucking played that game on the Game Boy Color, so
No, that's what I was saying, man. I
there
think.
wasn't even like real fucking definition. But I think if I saw this, I'd say right because the other one's like
Yeah, no.
like Pichu, like the other evolution. I think the other one has a tail like that. I could be tripping. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're saying dash? I don't know if a dash or not.
Dash.
Is what I believe.
Not now. No, there was a. No, there
Not
was
now.
a.
Not now.
Fruit of the Loom.
Oh, it didn't have a cornucopia. I saw a video.
The basket was. Basket.
I saw a video where someone picked up a shirt and it had the basket on it. I swear to God, could have been faked. Who
You
knows?
can look up like some of this stuff like that we've already agreed on, and not find.
What we're thinking of.
Well, that just apparently it never existed. So that was one thing. Okay, we got double stuffed Oreo.
What's different here? What's different at all? Just the shade of the color, dude.
Nope.
What's different?
Come on.
Oh no, you're telling me they spell it with one F?
This is a debatable one. This doesn't resonate with me because I couldn't actually.
I got double stuffed Oreos on my bed right now. Literally,
It's gonna. Yeah.
it's one F, bro. What?
Yeah. Okay. Right.
That's one. That's just fucking stupid. That's not how you spell.
Right. Well, again, I have a box of cheese. But
It's singular. This is weird.
well.
I think it's a play on like normal speech, like common ways of spelling things.
Singular.
Or just like,
It's cheese. It's now.
well, I think it's people
No,
always
I
call
know.
it cheese its, And I think that's what like plays into us.
No, that's why I think a lot of these, but there are some where it kind of, I don't know.
I think one thing is that I can't adamantly say that like, oh, I remember it being this. Like I just, you don't have the memory.
Yeah, well, that's part of it, but at the same time, when have we ever had? Is this just like there's been a conspiracy of like this being like a government plot just to like, some
Or
sick tactic to make you think that, you know,
or was it a fuck up of the Matrix when we discovered the
well,
hadron collider fucking god particles?
yeah, well, Matrix was a precursor to, I think, what they want to actually create in a small sense. That's Hollywood shit, but I think there was a lot of truth in there. What do you think about this? Star Wars fan?
Star Wars fan.
What do you think about the
Um,
leg?
he got a different opinion. He was silver somewhere for a little bit, but he started out on the left. I swear to God that happened throughout the show. That he
I always thought that when I watched that movie, was just
sw- swear opening scene he is all fucking gold,
gold, and then
copper, whatever.
something changes. You go back and watch it, and I don't think that's the case. Now, there could be several different cuts of this movie, obviously.
Yeah,
Um, but what passes through time is the Flintstones or the Flintstones.
I knew it was Flint Stones. That one I can stand by.
See that I get because these are just like images, spelling mistakes. Some of
Yeah,
them to just
like
easily trick you. But for the ones that there's only a few, but all it takes is a few for you to be like, once this becomes like something I can look up online,
yeah.
um, you can get misconstrued. But these ones at the top here are kind of Sex in the City. I don't know.
I didn't.
And I think
That's
Febreze just changed their fucking name for all I know. But maybe when I go on Google, it was never two E's.
Febreze.
Yeah. And see, these are just
Like
like little tricks. But then a couple of them just hit you like, the motherfucker had a tail.
that's crazy. That one is wild.
Oh,
I mean, he's a fucking monkey, bro. He has a fucking tail. There's no way.
I think that the actual information that we're getting, I'm lucky that Google says, oh, you can actually
View these.
view these things, and they're feeding it to you, and that's how I know it's also manipulated. To just that's the way humans go. Um, Usually these articles cater to what you want to see. So, you could find a completely different, not you in specific, but what I'm saying is, anytime you're on Google in a different state and you have a different set of beliefs, they're constantly tracking you.
Yeah.
So they want to know your preferences for whatever you like. So you'll get a completely set, different
Tar-
results.
right. Targeted ads and
And that's just not ads, but like if you look on Google about, it doesn't have to be just politics, but um, you'll be shown completely different. You'll more often than not, you are going to get what you want to see, the answer
yeah.
that you were expecting. Okay, so they want to predict you before you even know what your answer is, right? Just based on other things. So if they know this, that, oh, okay, I like this, that, left, right, ring. I don't really give a shit about that. It's just more all of our information rooted to now suit you to put you in a box where they can contain you. That's the
Well,
whole topic in itself, but good thing to divulge into here because I'll let you go on this, but the Mandela effect and that can just control the mind way you think, but it can also shed a new light on reality. Uh, but
yeah. I mean,
we're
it
just
definitely means
looking
that.
at Google search is just the primary source of information, and I want to know your thoughts on like, is that really? Should we be looking up Google every time that I want to know something? You want to know something? Don't you think that's threatening? Knowing that it's there to cater and manipulate and put you in this box so you can be, not sold, but you will be catered to as far as ads. You're treated as a number, right?
Right.
So, what are your thoughts?
You know, it, I think uh, it's weird. It's definitely something that I mean everybody's seen in like any sort of media that it's the whole fucking world is divided into two news sources. You're either a Fox News fan or a fucking CNN fan, right?
Well, that's our world. That's for damn sure.
But the fact that there's not a centralized source of like absolutely just unbiased information is pretty scary. But who's to say that something's unbiased or not? Think of like the Fauci
Bias.
shit.
Yeah.
Think of Fauci talking about COVID. That's like our one dude that we're all supposed to trust during anything COVID. And he was fucking lying his ass off for money too. So like it doesn't. It's up to the person to go look at multiple sources. It's like it's no longer that like you should just trust. that you're gonna get the right thing.
Most people are comfortable just trusting in the side. They would rather be fed that healthy meal of fucking, slop, whatever form it comes in, that just satisfies their needs, just so they have an identity and something to feel a part of, and they don't want to separate from that. And they are easily manipulated to where it creates two sides. And
And that's why Biden. That's why Biden is president. You know.
Obama's been president. Yeah, I can say that on it. Obama's been your president. I'm kidding.
You know. I took a
Trump never
picture.
lost.
I took a picture outside my house with a John McCain shirt on. My whole family.
Damn,
We were some real OG
damn.
Republicans.
Right on. Well, God.
Honestly, I liked Obama personally as a
Yeah, it was a
as
good
an adult
lizard.
now looking back.
Well, yeah,
Better than the lizard we have now.
yeah.
It's not even a lizard, bro. We have a puppet right now.
That dude is a carcass.
We got Pinocchio with a hand up his ass.
Are they gonna come after me? Since I said I didn't say
That's
who. Let's go. Biden. Damn. Fuck Joe Biden.
I'd,
Let's go,
I'd
Brandon.
talk about the I'd talk about the Higgs boson for sure.
Higgs boson. All right. With CERN, logo. We're bring that up for everyone. I would start with just this purely the six right here. It took me a second to actually see what was going on here. Six, six, six.
Yeah, they're just kind of spiraled around.
It's like a simulation, but they say like CERN put us in a simulation. I'm not going with that. Won't go that far. But if they're toying with the fundamentals of everything that we know and trying to replicate this, who's to say they already, I mean, have they done it? We wouldn't know, right? Just like who the fuck would care when we die?
I think that the fact that we know about the company CERN means that they aren't doing that. You know, if anybody was doing that, we fucking would not know their name.
CERN is just a cover up for what is. I don't think CERN is like the holy grail of what could be going on. I just, now it's time. Now it's time to get into the devil acts. I'm sitting here wondering, okay, like, why is this sitting right outside the front of CERN?
All right, so who is that? That's Vishnu, the Hindi god of like everything. Okay.
All right, start with there. Exactly what's sitting outside of.
I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Like, dude, imagine seeing a gargoyle for the first time out on the front of a fucking apartment building. You would look at a gargoyle and be like, "What the?"
I'm not judging it based off looks. So you don't have half of yourself. People always look for the other half with someone else.
Do you have a friend that you know that you could call at any time and they'd give up their last dollar in their bank account to like bail you out of jail or like save you?
Oh, to save me, yeah.
But like, save you's probably drastic, but.
Well, I mean, if I need to bail out of jail, yeah, I got someone I can ring.
Do you have somebody that you know that would drive 8 hours to show up at your doorstep?
I mean,
like standing right there for you. If you just called him at midnight.
8 hours. You can just do that.
Who says you can't?
Real life responsibilities. He still comes out and visits. I mean, I'm just glad I still got a couple of those people that when they do get the chance to come around, they always make sure to stop by, and they're always checking in with me. And they knew if it was that serious of a situation, they would drop a dime and try and make something happen.
Yeah. At least put the effort in. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for. I don't know if you guys. I wish I could do that for all my friends, because I would want to, you know.
Yeah.
It's just not always in that position, but
right.
It means a lot when you're able to take advantage of those opportunities. Whether it's, it's not even for you, it's for them, but that's how you know you got a friend.
I think that's probably the most valuable thing I've felt so far. Like since moving out of Indiana, or like out of the house that my brother killed himself in, I met some fucking great kids in high school in Illinois, and
yeah,
those motherfuckers, bro, they would absolutely do anything for me.
I mean, I just need a few buddies to I mean, they got their own lives. We're going on our own paths, but I always make an effort. They always make an effort to um, stay connected. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's been sad to kind of see that dwindle over the years. With but people come, people go. I haven't done much to actually grow my inner circle. You feel me? I became, just callous to it.
Who
Where
says you like? Do you really think you need to grow it? You know.
I didn't want to. I had it in my mind. I was done having a bunch of people come over and hang out that I didn't. It was kind of just like fake, And then
Yeah.
you go from saying like, "Fuck, man, I just want some time alone," to where, "Oh shit, I'm alone." And then you're like, "God damn." I mean, I knew I wanted some peace, but Jesus Christ, everything just flipped. And I'm like, well, there you go, bro. That's what you get. You wanted it. Here you go. And it taught me a lot about the fact, well, there's a reason I'm here for sure, but that doesn't mean you cut everybody off. You remember who's been there for you and who will stick there with you, who's you know survived with you, who's gonna be a ride or die. Cliche as that shit is, but and for a long time I thought I had a lot more people that would have been that way, but you grow up, go different paths, people do dumb shit, and you realize it's not quite always a bunch of fucking sunshine and roses. As long as I got these other people by my side, I don't care if it's one, two. I gotta have someone. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I just need a couple people that I can, And now I'm getting to a point where even having a friendship with you, we haven't even fucking been able to meet up, and yet we're both able to connect and communicate. I never once I get to a point where I know like I can fuck with this person and feel comfortable. I mean, I'm always trying to be open arms with majority of people I meet, but I'm always still kind of like, you know, there was always that hesitation. But for certain people, the closest friends that you meet, it's really not that much of a struggle. That's the
Dude,
beauty of it,
I think that's interesting because I think I differ, to be honest.
right? On.
I think the reason I've you know, been close enough to you to like talk about fucking whatever I wanted is that we don't know each other in real life. Like, and like divulging into you is just
It's not
at some
physical.
point
It's not
it's
manifested, right?
it's almost speaking into the void, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it becomes a void, but then you realize that like becomes kind of a real thing. There is
It does,
actual connection here, and it's
that's when I
easier.
realized that like you're you're actually a competent communicator, which is like not even common anymore.
No, it's hard for people to listen, respect, give some sort of empathy.
Just dude, just be in the moment in the conversation and like it's not that hard to ask a follow up question.
Right. I mean, I think.
I was at a dude, I was at a wedding that my girlfriend made me go to, and
Oof.
I was at the plus ones table, so just a bunch of random ass people that don't know each other at my table. This dude I talked to, I know his whole fucking life story. This guy didn't even know my fucking name by the end of the convo, and I talked to him for 45 minutes.
Jesus Christ.
He like it was like talking to a brick wall, bro.
His life is not that great.
I was like, oh, so like, how's that going? Like, oh, so you like enjoy that? And he's just like, yeah, and talks about himself, and I'm like, all right, can't
I'm
wait
just
to ask another question.
used
But
to just asking questions. Like, I'm more interested in the other person and what they got to say because most people just don't have a problem spitting out what they got going on.
right, a lot
I'm,
of people are just here to blab about themselves.
yeah, it's not a bad trait to listen.